Dear Jose and all gathered on this momentous occasion of the 90th birthday, let me first say that it's a great privilege that I've been asked to say a few words. At the same time, I'm really sorry. It's a big loss for me not to be able to be with you in person. However, believe me, I'll be with you in spirit. Your work, Jose, has always inspired me, in particular the idea that the world can leapfrog toward a sustainable future, and I have reflected in my work ever since, so in many ways you have been my mentor. And also here at IIASA, you have a very big fan club. Now, it is very difficult to highlight what's most important of your achievements, but let me first mention only two that I think are essential. First, you are the father of the Brazilian alcohol program. This was not only important for Brazil, but for the whole world. The second one I would like to highlight is your clear and determined voice against Brazil building a nuclear bomb. That idea emerged after the Cuban crisis, as far as I know, but 15 years later, when you became the State Secretary of Science and Technology, you took the president to the site that's called Serra do Cochimbo, where there is a big hole that was planned to be used for the nuclear experiments. And this is a great gift to humanity and made very large news worldwide. Jose, you're also the only person I know who has occupied important positions in the private sector, in the public sector, and academia. Let me mention that you were the head of Sao Paulo Energy Company. I already said that you were State Secretary of Science and Technology, but also State Secretary for Education and State Secretary for the Environment. And in that function, you were also the organizer of the 1990 Earth Summit in Rio, another huge contribution to the humanity on the way forward towards a sustainable future. In my area of work, energy, you have made a really fundamental contribution 30 years ago. 30 years ago, a book was published, Energy for a Sustainable World. Here is a copy. Many people call it the Red Book. I call it the Energy Bible. And the reason is that this book clearly outlines that the future of energy needs to be universal access for all, also energy efficiency and renewables. And please, all of you remember that these were the years when everybody else thought it'll be lots of fossil and nuclear energy in the solution. So I think this was the beginning of a big transformation in the way we look at the future. I had the great pleasure and privilege to work with you, Jose, on a number of projects. Let me start with the first ever assessment of energy called the World Energy Assessment that you, Jose, co-chaired. I think it really put together a very organized and well thought through agenda of what needs to be done in energy. The next study that I participated in was an inter-academy panel study on the transformation of the energy system that you together co-chaired with Nobel laureate Steve Chu, who later became the Secretary of Energy in the United States and used the findings of this report as an energy plan for the United States, and as such it was very successful. And then last but not least, perhaps the biggest project in which I participated, it is even difficult to lift the book, 5.5 kilo, global energy assessment with 500 authors and reviewers throughout the world. Jose, you were the co-president together with Jed Davis of this very important study. Now the outcome was quite influential. Let me just mention one big outcome, and that is that it provided the science for the 3 targets of the Sustainable Energy Goal number 7 on energy. The first target is universal access to electricity and clean cooking for everybody by 2030. Second one is doubling the renewable share by 2030. And the third one, doubling the rate of energy efficiency improvement. I think these are just some of the few examples of your great contributions in understanding how humanity can leapfrog to a sustainable future. Let me conclude with a personal note. I hope that also in the future I can call you and ask for advice when I have a big challenges and don't know the way forward. Your advice in the past always offered really the best solutions one can imagine. I would like to wish you all a very great celebration over the next 2 days and look forward to seeing you in some other occasion.